Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. Today let us understand the results that Venus, the most brightest planet of our solar system, apart from Sun anyhow, is placed in the fifth house, which is regarded as the first major trikona. Though the Lagna is considered as a trikona, the fifth house is also considered as the first major trikona because the fifth and the ninth are known as the balancing factors of the horoscope. Why are they known as the balancing factors? It's not the material which is balanced in the, when you take a balance and you start putting, put onions here and put a 500 grams weight here. Who is the one who is balancing the human being? So when the human effect on the horoscope, the humility, the all these things which cannot be weighed. You can weigh onions, you can weigh tomatoes, but you cannot weigh honesty, integrity, imagination, creativity, so many things. So these are the things which actually are the crux of the fifth house. So let me first tell the most important thing which actually cannot be weighed: wisdom, which is called jnana. Jnana is not only education. Please do not get confused with buddhi and jnana. Buddhi is the intellect. So any intelligent person can sit in an exam, clear the exam, get a degree, get a scholarship, go abroad, work well and have money. But all these people do not have to have the same level of wisdom. So that's why whenever I see a chart, I see the fifth house for understanding whether this person has skill sets, talent, and also has the wisdom to execute them. So if the fourth house is strong, that is, he has technical knowledge or he has knowledge, skillful knowledge, and he has the fifth house which has the talent to apply the skill from the fourth, whatever he has got from through education. So the fifth house is implementation, which again cannot be weighed. You cannot put it in a weighing machine and tell that I want 5 kilos of implementation knowledge. You can't get it. So you need to understand the fifth house first. Let me first discuss the fifth house in short detail, and then I'll go into the Venus placement, because this is one of the biggest Raja Yogas for any chart. For any chart, even if Venus is a bad planet for a chart, the position of Venus in the fifth house itself gives rise to a Raja Yoga, wherein the person will have high skill sets and high wisdom. Maybe other things in his life might go ups and downs. Downs can happen. He might go through a bad married life. He might have Dvikalatra Yoga, which I'll come, to, because that is the last point which I have written down in my list of items. So the first major few things are wisdom, that is Viveka. So one who does not have wisdom, in Sanskrit we very clearly call him Aviveki. So mantra sthana. So if I have to tell a mantra, if for example I am telling Ganana Antva Ganapatigam Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashkavastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspada Anashudman Mojavisya Sadhanam. So if I am telling this mantra, if I am reciting this mantra, the specific pronunciation, the meter and everything has to be perfect. And this perfection can be achieved if there is Venus in the fifth house. Mind it, Venus and Jupiter both are very good for mantra. Even Sun. Sun is excellent for pronunciation. They are very perfect. Venus gives the flair. It gives that you get, it is very soothing. The mantra cannot be just fired like a bullet. Some mantras have to be soft and soothing so that it is be therapeutical. So for therapy, for people who can become good psychologists, who can become clinical psychiatrists, Venus in the fifth house, it's a very, very good start for them. That is the start for any astrologer to predict that you can be a psychologist, you can be a teacher, you can be a mentor. Next subject, speculation. The fifth house is fantastic for speculation. people who know how to do, it's not guesswork. Please try to understand gambling and guesswork and lottery system. This does not come in the fifth house, it is the 11th house. The third, the eighth, and the 11th are for gambling and all this lottery. And see, it's like just throw your dice and see whether you are going to win or not. Fifth house is not like that. It is a speculation. They know that today this particular horse is going to win the race. And how? They will have done all the calculation of the heredity of the horse, its father, its grandfather, its mother, its grandmother. They will know the genealogy, they will know the races. These people will have done their workout. They will have done a lot of mathematical calculations before going and investing into that race. But anyway, I am not prompting, or I am not appreciating the fact that people should go behind all these types of gambling. But still, speculation, market speculation, trading speculation, investment in speculation, futures, commodity market, trying to understand how things will work, whether I am going to get a profit if I am going to have some particular item in cold storage. Like for example, if somebody wants to store apples for this winter and see that whether they can sell it in the summer at a higher rate, whether it will go in a higher rate or not, whether they are going to get profit even after they keep it in the cold storage, has to be speculative. So this speculation is very good with Venus in the fifth house. Imagination, creativity, this is for artistic people, for musicians, for people who are creating music. Creating music is not such an easy thing. It's not like any, after listening to a simple tune, you can think that I could also have done this. But each tune goes for millions of dollars. How come that simple tune went to millions of dollars? Is only because he is the one who did it first. You did not do it. Only after you listen to it, you will tell that, okay, this is a very simple tune, I could have done it. Why you did not do it? That's only because you did not have Venus in the fifth house. He had it. So, Purva Punyasthana. Anybody who has Venus in the fifth house, very clear, these people have done good in their Purva Janma with regard to any female, like a sister, like mother, like his own wife or his daughter. He would have done good to them, and that's why he has the Venus in the fifth house. Prajani is prajanana, that is population, increase in population, or having children, or having civilized children, having good children. To have a good child, to have a good daughter, to have a beautiful and brainy daughter, you need to have a fantastic fifth house. So, usually people with Venus in the fifth house have more daughters. They are very romantic, very artistic and poetic. Poets, they are very good poets, provided Chandra also plays a very important role here. Chandra, that is moon, because moon is for the language, the flow, the vocabulary, the phrasing. If you do not know how to phrase, you will be like, dabbling with colors without knowing what to paint. So, it's like the imagination is like the flow. So the flow comes if you have Venus in the fifth house. We also should understand the fifth house is for the abdomen. It's for the lower abdomen, just below the diaphragm. It also has the pancreas, it has the ovaries, it has the kidneys. All these things come in the fifth house. Particularly, I don't mark the kidneys here because I take it to the eighth house because it's posterior. It's behind. So in the front part, I take the intestines, that is for the digestion, and particularly the ovaries. The Karaka for ovaries, the egg is Venus in the female case, and for the male, it is the Karaka for the sperm or the what we call as Virya. So Virya Shakti and Andashaya, we call this as Andashaya, means the ovaries. The Andashaya means the place where the eggs are formed, the follicles are formed. So that is very, very much important to understand through the medical astrological point of view, that if Venus is ill placed, in the fifth house, there might be medical problems for the child or procreation. So it's not for conceiving. I'm not talking about conceiving here. I'm talking about after conceiving, there might be problems in pregnancy and also later pregnancy. Throughout the pregnancy, there might be some ups and downs the lady can experience. So if a person has a debilitated weak Venus in the fifth house, or a Venus which is malefically positioned in the fifth house, one should understand that there might be some medical intervention which has to be needed so that things will work out in the future. So if it is well placed, usually I will tell you this is a very funny thing. People do not understand astrology in this particular way. If you have an unblemished, pure Venus in the fifth house, it's very clearly telling you don't get married, do not have children. You are blessed with this birth to live your life free. You can enjoy life. But if it is blemished, even with a Jupiter or a Moon or a Mercury, even with a benefic planet, it very clearly gives you a child. So child is a karma which comes into your life. Each birth and each soul which comes into a person's life is a karma. So the karma, the prarabdha, that is what we had in this life, which we have carried on from our past life, which we have to take care of. So it's like if you have a child in your hand, though you have motherhood, you have fatherhood, and you have this enjoyment of seeing how the child grows up, the upbringing, so many things, but still that is a karma. It's an associated karma. If good things happen with the child, you are happy. If bad things happen, you suffer. So things are like, if you have an unblemished Venus in the fifth house, which does not have any aspect and it is very well placed like exalted, or it's in its own house like for Mithuna or for Capricorn, you have an unblemished Venus in the fifth house, beautiful position. Please do not get married, or if you are even married, think not to have children. I'm not telling that you should be biologically, there is some difficulty to have children. I am just telling you that you can still be healthy but not have children. You can decide on that because we already have a lot of population around this world. So, a blemished Venus or even a Venus with a Jupiter or a Saturn in the fifth house, there is a chance of an extramarital affair. So because the fifth is the 11th from the 7th. Roga does not mean that every time there is a disease. That is for the Lagna. For the Lagna, the 6th house is the Rogasthana. But for the 7th house, the 6th from the 7th or the 11th from the 7th is not always Roga. It is Roga to the signification of the 7th house. What is the 7th house? Relationships, marital relationship, marital happiness. And Roga to marital happiness is nothing but marital discord. Very simple. So, there might be extramarital affairs which has to be rechecked with so many other factors. So, it's house of romance, as I know, as I have told you that these people are very charming, they talk very well, they are poetic, they can, take things under control very fast. So, they have a lot of attraction towards them. So, more daughters, as I have told you, they are very good in agriculture, floriculture and horticulture, particularly horticulture. Why? Venus represents all those beautiful fruits. See, when we go to the market, let us say we go to a huge market. You have all the seafood here, you have all that non-vegetarian here, you have these vegetables here spread over, you have fruits here. Fruits look more beautiful. The beauty in the fruit is because of its colors. All these colorful fruits. So the horticulture and particularly people who are florists for flowers and fruits, fifth house Venus is a must. And also Venus represents the white color, and also the garments. So the raw cloth also comes under Venus. The silk yarn, which is produced with lot of inhuman, I do not agree with silk. I'm not against anybody, but still, I'm against using silk myself personally. That's because for every square meter of silk, you'll have to kill a lot of cocoon. That is those, that is the nest of those beautiful moth, which is the silk moth. So I disagree with silk. So people, I request most of them, all my followers or people who are seeing this video, try to minimize usage of silk or totally stop it, because we do not want to continue killing. So that's one thing which I wanted to pass on this message, because Venus in the 5th house also means culturing silk. So love affairs at early age, early marriage, getting into unnecessary relationships which might deviate the person from his 4th house. The 5th house is always a distraction to the 4th house. And what is the 4th house? Education and qualification. To get the degree, to get your graduation. So the 5th house, if it is strongly posited, if I weigh the 4th and the 5th, and the 4th falls down and the 5th is very strong. So that means if the 5th house is posited with Venus and any other planet, these people are so skillful that they don't give a damn to their education. They will tell that I can do it myself. I'll do this, I'll do that. So this, I'll do this, I'll do that. What it will do is that they will not be able to finish their education completely. So if the 4th and the 5th are having a smooth elevation, that is, the 4th is also strongly placed and the 5th is also strongly placed, and these people can become doctorates. They do their masters and their doctorates in a very smooth fashion. So they are carefree, they are easygoing, they are sweet tooth, they love to eat food, and that's also very clearly because it is the 4th from the 2nd house, and the 4th house is called as the Sukhasthana from the 2nd house, which is the Annasthana. So Annasthana is the house of food and Sukhasthana is to have happy food. So it's an excellent placement, and people can become technically very skillful, they can become psychologists, they can become therapists, they can become judges, teachers, they can be many other things in life, and particularly they can be good designers, architectures. Instruments are one thing which I had left out. They are very good in instruments because it is the 3rd from the 3rd. It controls the 3rd house. 3rd from the 3rd. From the 3rd it is 3rd, 4th and the 5th. So the 5th house means dexterity for the 3rd house, and 5th house means creativity and for the 3rd house, and 3rd house means arms and the hands. So instruments, guitar, veena, violin, harp, drums. So all these things are very good for these people. They are excellent in these things. So the placement of Venus in the 5th house, the best position for Venus to be in any chart other than the 12th house if it is placed very well. Because the 12th house, usually I have seen Venus in the 12th house is always with some other planet and it gets destroyed. But the 5th house, it will give excellent results. So thank you very much for today's class. I hope I have covered a lot of subject today. Thank you.